Mark Carney, the name echoes through the halls of global finance. He's been governor of the Bank of Canada. He's been governor of the Bank of England. He's advised prime ministers and hobnobbed with the elite at Davos. He's a card-carrying member of the global financial elite, a true citizen of the world. But there's one title he hasn't claimed: elected official. Carney's career is a testament to the revolving door between government and high finance. He glides from central banking to international organizations, always at the pinnacle of power. But this power has always been unelected, appointed, bestowed by the very institutions he now seeks to lead. It begs the question, why would a man who scaled the heights of the financial world set his sights on Canadian politics? Could it be that the allure of elected office, of shaping a nation's destiny, trumps even the rarefied air of global finance? Or is there something more at play? Carney's supporters hail him as a visionary leader, a steady hand in uncertain times. They point to his impressive resume, his handling of the 2008 financial crisis, or mishandling, according to Stephen Harper, his advocacy for climate action. But scratch beneath the surface, and a different picture emerges. Carney's tenure as governor of the Bank of England was marked by controversy. His quantitative easing policies, while lauded by some, have been blamed for fueling inflation and exacerbating inequality. His embrace of green finance initiatives, while well-intentioned, raises concerns about the potential for economic disruption and job losses. One can't help but wonder if Carney's leadership bid is driven by a genuine desire to serve the Canadian people, or if it's a calculated move to further his own ambitions. After all, what better way to cement one's legacy than to ascend to the highest office in the land? Transparency, accountability, these are the cornerstones of a healthy democracy. Yet when it comes to his own finances, Mark Carney has been remarkably opaque. He's refused to disclose his tax returns, citing privacy concerns. But the very definition of public office dismisses privacy concerns for transparency. Probably why he's pursuing office with the tyrannical Liberals. But Canadians deserve to know where their leaders' financial interests lie. They deserve to know if their leaders stand to benefit from the very policies they're advocating. They deserve to know the personal gains attained while in office. They deserve to know if their leaders are truly serving the public good or if they're lining their own pockets. Forensic audits should be mandatory for all politicians, especially those seeking the highest office. These audits would provide a comprehensive and independent assessment of a candidate's financial history, uncovering any potential conflict, sort of interest or hidden agendas. Upon leaving office, a politician should show normal financial gain, but if through their governing they gained excessive amounts, jail should be their future. Carney's association with the World Economic Forum, the organization behind the annual gathering of the global elite in Davos, Switzerland, is deeply troubling. The WEF has become synonymous with globalization, free trade, and a technocratic worldview that often seems at odds with the interests of ordinary people. Carney's embrace of the WEF's agenda raises serious questions about his commitment to Canadian sovereignty and the well-being of working Canadians. Is he truly interested in representing the interests of everyday Canadians, or is he more beholden to the global elite he's so comfortable rubbing shoulders with? The WEF's Great Reset agenda, a blueprint for a post-pandemic world, has been met with suspicion and outright hostility by many. Critics view it as an attempt to consolidate power in the hands of a select few further eroding national sovereignty and individual liberty. Carney's close ties to this organization should give Canadians pause. The price of green, a calculated sacrifice. Carney is a vocal advocate for climate action, and rightly so. Climate change is an existential threat, and we must act decisively to address it. But his embrace of certain green policies, particularly those championed by the WEF, raises concerns about their potential impact on the Canadian economy and the livelihoods of hard-working Canadians. The transition to a low-carbon economy will undoubtedly require sacrifices, but those sacrifices should not fall disproportionately on the shoulders of working families. Carney's policies, while well-intentioned, risk exacerbating existing inequalities and creating a new class of climate-displaced workers. Canadians deserve a leader who will champion a just and equitable transition to a green economy while keeping Canada first, one that creates opportunities for all, not just the privileged few. From finance to politics, a seamless transition? Carney's supporters argue that his experience in finance makes him uniquely qualified to lead Canada. They point to his handling of the 2008 financial crisis. Don't ask Harper to endorse this. His understanding of global markets, and his ability to navigate complex economic issues. But is this really the kind of experience we need in a leader? The skills required to manage a central bank are not the same as those required to lead a nation. Central bankers are concerned with monetary policy, inflation targets, and financial stability. Political leaders must grapple with a far broader range of issues, from healthcare and education to social justice and national security. Carney's lack of experience in elected office is a serious liability. He's never had to campaign for votes, build a political base, or make tough decisions that balance competing interests. His entire career has been spent in the rarefied air of elite institutions, far removed from the daily realities of most Canadians. The illusion of expertise, a banker's touch. Carney's supporters often cite his intellect and expertise as evidence of his fitness for office. He's a Rhodes Scholar, an Oxford graduate, a former Goldman Sachs executive. He's the epitome of the technocratic elite. But is expertise enough? Expertise without humility, without empathy, without a willingness to listen to and learn from those most affected by one's decisions can be a dangerous thing. It can lead to arrogance, to a belief that one knows best, to a disconnect from the needs and aspirations of ordinary people. Canadians deserve a leader who listens more than they lecture, who seeks to understand the challenges faced by everyday people, who recognizes that true leadership lies not in imposing one's will but in empowering others. The people's right to know, transparency as a cornerstone. The foundation of any democracy is trust, and trust is built on transparency. Mark Carney's refusal to fully disclose his financial dealings erodes that trust. It raises suspicions. It feeds into the narrative that he is just another out-of-touch elitist who is more interested in serving himself and his wealthy friends than the Canadian people. Transparency is not a burden. It's not an inconvenience. It is the bare minimum that citizens should expect from those who seek to represent them. Carney's reluctance to open his financial records to public scrutiny speaks volumes. It suggests that he has something to hide, that he is planning personal financial gain through government manipulation. Canadians deserve a leader who understands that true leadership is about serving the people, not oneself. A call for vigilance. Guarding Canadian interests. Mark Carney's candidacy presents a stark choice for Canadians. Do we want a leader who is beholden to the global elite, who prioritizes the interests of corporations and financial institutions over those of everyday Canadians? Or do we want a leader who will fight for us, who will stand up for our values, who will put the needs of Canadians first? The choice is clear. Canadians must be vigilant. We must demand transparency and accountability from our leaders. We must reject the siren song of globalization and the allure of technocratic solutions. We must choose a leader who will put Canada first, people. It cannot be stressed enough how important our next Canadian election is. You may feel that our choices are limited, but look at the last 10 years. Canada is a shadow of its former self. Mark Carney is going to carry on and add further restrictions. I'm tired of being a broke Canadian. At least recognize that we need change. A new Liberal leader just means more of the same, no matter who it is. It's their agenda. Pick someone else. If you support Liberals, wait 4 years. These guys have destroyed us. It's time to fix Canada.